Hey, Mike, it's me, Ian. And in today's video, well, I just had to do it. I've done this, I didn't really plan it too much, but um, I gotta, I've just got to do this. Well, I'm just gonna have a look at this film. Yeah, it's First Blood. Yes, from 1982, a Rambo film. Yeah. Now, the name I noticed, it was originally known as First Blood, and they've now seem to call it Rambo First Blood. But it's from 1982. Now, why am I going on about this? Why am I excited? Well, it's a film that a lot of people seem to have seen, and I haven't. There's a whole bunch of films over the years. I think maybe because I watch a lot of more TV series, as you know, Doctor Who, Star Trek, and what have you. And I haven't seen a lot of films, stacks of films. And say, oh, you've seen that, and it's quite famous. And this is a really big franchise, and I haven't got any Stallone in my collection at all. Now you may wonder why. Oh, why has he decided to do this? Well, I read a lot about it because it's basically a film that has got such a lot of high regard, and I've not got really round to Stallone in my collection. I've got, like Arnie and Bruce Willis, but I haven't really got anything. Actually, it's totally untrue. I've got his voice on in the Suicide Squad. So that's it. But here we are. I've actually got a film, and it's in 4K, and it was a bargain. And I thought, why not? It's actually, I think, fairly recently come out in this edition. The question will be, should I get any more of this series, or should I look at some of the others? Going way back, I did see, well, this is years ago, I did see the first Rocky. Now, I've never been a massive boxing film fan, and I can't remember too much about it, but I know everybody raves over that, but I suppose at the time I wasn't really knocked over by it, and I haven't really considered going back to it. But who knows? I might go back. Who knows? But I don't know. But I've got this one anyhow. Oh, and of course Judge Dredd as well. I mean, I love Judge Dredd, and perhaps wasn't impressed as much as I should have been. Or maybe I'm right to be with the Stallone Judge Dredd. I haven't got these in my collection at all. But anyhow, I've got this, and I'm really happy because I do really like it. It's staying in my collection. As I say, everything in my collection I like and enjoy. There's nothing I say I'm not getting that. If I don't like it, if I know I'm only going to play it once, that's why you don't get me with negative, hateful reviews about films, because I simply just don't have them in my collection. Everything I review is in my collection. Right. Okay, I'm going on a bit too much. So I won't go too much into detail, but I probably will. I don't want to ramble on too much, as I tend to. But I'm excited because, this is a very, very good film. It's got a lot of depth to it as well, which may surprise. Well, it doesn't surprise me from what I've read, because that is why this stands out as the best of the Rambo films. The films that have been released, and I think it's about 4 or something like that. Anyhow, it's only 93 minutes long, so it does move along so quickly actually when you're watching it. Rotten Tomatoes give it 86%, which is pretty good for them. The consensus tended to be very favourable, though I think as time's moved on, it's been looked at even more, and it's looked at in terms of Vietnam movies, action films, all that kind of, comparisons, and its reputation has grown. Directed by, now a director I've not really heard of, Ted Kotcheff, I think that's the name, who was directed 2 films I'd heard of. I hadn't heard much else. Was Fun with Dick and Jane from 1977, and Weekend at Bernie's 1989. Sort of two films that don't really match up with this film. There we are. It's interesting that he would have those, in his filmography. So that's it. And also, just a little, I noticed as well, he'd done a lot of TV work, and he directed 3 episodes of the Red Shoes Diaries, which were like a blooming sort of soft porn for TV thing. I just remember those things. They were terrible, as I remember. But hey, they were exciting. A bit of soft porn on TV, yeah. That's it. Anyway, let's go with that. I'm going on talking too much about that. It was on a budget of $15 million budget. Yeah, $15 million budget is on, which isn't not, it's a reasonable budget, but not, in terms of Hollywood, not bad, and it was in the box office success. It made $125 million. So that's pretty good, I would say. It's a good return. They would be very happy. Now, it comes from a story called First Blood from 1972 by David Morrell. And it had been kicking around all over. There were attempts to get this film going. And it didn't seem to work out. It didn't happen. But then eventually it did happen. And Stallone apparently was very involved as well in the script. He was involved in, it finally got there, 1982. Yep. And I can see now why it's so praised, because this film is just outstanding. Yeah, I have to say it. Outstanding. And Stallone, again, perhaps I've not rated as much, I've thought it was a certain view of Stallone. His acting is superb. He just plays this part so well. I mean, he's just fantastic in it. His acting, his depth of performance, which you perhaps, for somebody like me, it's funny how you build up a picture of certain actors and think, oh, well, they're not going to be, they have a certain way, and yeah, but this, he shows a lot of depth of character. He's got the action style, of course, and the way he is, but there's a lot there, and I really enjoyed that part of the depth, right from the very beginning when he goes and sees his friend, who he finds out has died of cancer, right, in those opening scenes. And then as we get through, the way he's abused by the police, which triggers all this. There's everything about his performance is so good. And that makes the film. And the other great thing about the film is I love the locations they've used. Absolutely superb. And in the 4K, of course, this really comes across really good. The picture quality as I'm watching this. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. I just sat there thinking, wow, yeah, why haven't I got around to watching this before? Mind you, the fact is they've only just released this version on 4K, and there has been earlier ones. I think Steelbooks and whatever. But anyhow, this is fantastic. I'm really, really pleased with it, and I'm really glad it's in my collection. I think when you look at Vietnam War movies, there's certain ones we all know, like Apocalypse Now, Deer Hunter, etc. They just are all part of that look at Vietnam and what it did to the whole American psyche, and how these people who the country used, and then when they returned, basically didn't want to give them the respect and care that they should have had. And this is a good example of that. And I really were very moved by that aspect of it. And the ending was quite controversial as well. I just want to quickly mention the two other actors that for me stood out was Brian Dennehy as the sheriff, and I like Brian Dennehy in Cocoon, which is a film that may well come up this year, which is one of my all-time favourite films. I recognised him straight away from that film, so I absolutely love Cocoon. His performance as the sheriff is just, it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And then the other character as well, the Colonel, played by Richard Crenna. What a performance again! It just adds so much to it, and the ending I think works well. I think the ending really is a good ending. You sometimes wonder, actually, that could have ended there, and would there have been all these other follow-ons about Rambo? You know, the film has a certain ending to it, but obviously they felt because it had done well, they liked the character, then they carried on with it. But this is a film that I will definitely be rewatching a lot more. I really enjoyed it, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? In films, I'm excited that and when I get films, I do get excited and discovering new films. And I'm not just stuck in one genre all the time. I know I do a lot of horror stuff and sci-fi, but this film is excellent. It touches a lot of important issues, as well as being enjoyable and entertaining. It's great when you have both. Sometimes I just like pure popcorn entertainment, where you just sit there and just enjoy it, even if you think, well, it's not going to exercise my mind too much, but it's enjoyable. And then there are films that do both, are entertaining, but also make you think. And also when you see performances that from actors at a high level, you really appreciate everything then, and that's what it's all about, just enjoying. It's one thing I know in life, you've got to, appreciate and enjoy what you've got. And when you see it and have it, then that's it. And so I'm going to continue more this year, probably, hopefully. We'll see how it goes, of finding films that everybody else has watched that I haven't. And hopefully I'll find some more. And that's why, so that's it. I think that's my review. It's not perhaps gone into as much depth as I always do, but it's my impression and just a quick look at of the film. And here it is. If you like me and haven't seen this film at that time, in the past, go and have a look at it. It may not be, your impression may be like mine was. But I've got round to it, and I'm really happy I have. So here it is. It's First Blood from 1982, starring Sylvester Stallone. There it is. Yes, I've done it. Yeah, I've done it. Yeah. Right. So all I'm going to say is subscribe if you're interested in more of these reviews and stuff I do. Me going rambling on and talking about this and that. There'll be bound to be loads of that. Then if you really enjoy and like this video, give it a like. Just say, yes, I like it. And it costs notes. I say that, and in these times of cost of living crisis, it's what's free. It costs no. Hey, can't get better than that, can they? You can't. So all I'm going to say is, I'll see thee, and I'll see thee again.